Alright, here we've got a classical guitar with a broken first string. You can see that right there. So we're going to take our string, it's not attached to anything, take the end, run it through the front of the bridge, through that little hole, and out the back. Then we're going to loop it back around, and we're going to make a knot here, essentially is what we're going to do. So we're going to make a loop like this, run the end through the loop, round and through, like that. Then we're just going to wrap it around one more time, around and through again. So we have what looks like a little noose. And then pull that a little bit tight. You can see you have some extra sticking off there. You want that extra to be on the back side of the bridge, not on the top side of the bridge. If you're doing a complete restring, you'd catch it under that loop there. Since we're just doing one first string, it doesn't really matter which side that excess string lays on. We can always cut it off later. So we'll pull it tight, drawing the noose tight, and you can see that the excess comes off on the back side of the bridge. That's what you want. We'll cut off that excess later, because if we don't, it'll buzz. So pull it tight, and like I said, take a pair of wire clippers, cut that off later. So we've got the string on the bridge end of the guitar. Now we need to flip it around. Take a look at the nut end. So we've flipped it around. Here we are where the tuners are. So there's our nut, there's our tuner. So we're going to take our excess string, we're going to put it through the hole in the tuner, and we're going to run it around, back through, and we're going to pull it tight, but not completely tight. So I'm going to pan back so you can see about how tight I have the string pulled. I've got a little bit of slack in it. So if we pan down, you can see I have maybe enough string that I can kind of pull it up in the middle, a couple of inches, inch or so, somewhere around there. Alright, so I've got just about that much tension. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to take that string where I have it, and I'm going to loop it through again, essentially making an overhand knot. So I'm just going to wrap it around and through, just like that, making an overhand knot, and I'm going to pull it tight. So I can hold it slack, so I can leave that slack in there. And actually I made a little bit too much, so I'm going to loosen it up. I'm going to pull a little bit more through, and then hold it where I want it, and then tighten it up. So essentially I've got a knot around it. Now I'm going to start winding after I've pulled it tight. And what I want it to do is I want it to wrap towards the inside of the headstock. Now if you take a look at the hole in this tuner, it's kind of offset, and they're usually in the middle, and a lot of people like their strings to wrap towards the outside that way, the low E and the high E. But since my tuner is offset, I'm just going to wrap it towards the inside, so I've got more room to wrap. So I've got that inch of slack. I'm going to wrap it around. So I'm just going to tighten it. If you have a string winder, it'll make your job a little easier, but I'm just going to tighten and tighten and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap. So after I've gone around and around and around and around, I've got about one loop of string, and you can see it's starting to loop towards the inside, and now I'm actually getting a little bit of tension. I'm going to push it there to make sure that it is going to the inside of that hole, and I'm just going to keep wrapping, and I'm getting a little tension. So it's starting to tighten up, and I actually can pluck it and make a note. Okay, going to keep that string to the inside. Let's pluck it, see if it's getting tight, and it's getting a little tighter, so I'm going to keep wrapping, keep wrapping, keep wrapping. You're going to have to do this for a while. String winder will make your job easy, but you can see it's getting a little closer up to pitch, so we'll keep wrapping and wrapping, and keep wrapping and wrapping until it gets up to pitch. Okay, we'll try it again, getting closer, and you'll notice that it's getting the knot at the bridge end tight and the knot at the tuner end. So we'll keep tuning it till we get it up to pitch. Make sure that's going to the inside. Make sure the string's in the slot in the nut, and we'll keep tuning and tuning, tightening and tightening. Try it again. Okay, so I don't really need to film the rest of this. You know how to tune a guitar. Just keep tightening till it gets up to pitch. We can cut off that excess once we're sure that it is up to pitch and it's staying. So here's a picture of the guitar, and the string, as you can hear, has gone down about a half step. It's going to happen with nylon strings. So you can see our knot's pulled tight. Make sure that it hasn't slipped in any way. So it's tight. We'll cut that excess off later. So I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to put it under the string about at the first knuckle, and I'm going to pull it up about an inch or so and kind of give it a little tug. And then I'm just going to run my fingers up and down the string, kind of tugging just a little bit. Just like that, running up and down. That's going to stretch the string. So after you do that, you're going to notice it's probably going to go down about another half step. Okay? So after you stretch it, you can hear that it's probably going down again. If you're going to do this on the wound strings, like the D, the A, the E string, make sure you're not as vigorous as pulling on it, because they don't stretch quite as much, and they're more apt to break than the first string. So just be a little softer with that, and it'll go down a half step. So just keep running your finger up and down. You might have to do this 2 or 3 times till it stays. Maybe tune it up the next day, then you're ready to go. So that's how you put an E string on a guitar. If you want to do the wound strings, you essentially do the same thing. Just put one loop at the bridge end and follow the same process, and you're ready to go.